I was working from a forge in Enniskerry, the last sort of working forge in Ireland, and I kept meeting Colin at various different parties, and we started talking about what I was doing and what he was doing, and that was back in 1990.
I knew Edward and he knew me, and we sort of knew of each other and talked in the same area of career, I suppose. So we came together and thought we'd try it for 6 months and see what the chances would be of, forming some form of a partnership.
We thought, well, actually our various different talents would actually work very well together. And we tried it out for 6 months, it worked very well, and we've been doing it ever since. Well, our ambitions was to make quality ironwork, design-led and bespoke pieces. No one else was doing that in this country. Very few people were doing it in the UK.
There's examples in the few different areas we work in. Restoration, staircases, gates. The memorial for World War I was for St. Patrick's Cathedral, and they were looking for someone to carry out a commission of a sculpture. It grew from there in the fact that they wanted to commemorate World War I, so they wanted to do a 4-year commemoration, and they needed a piece that would give some imagery or some feeling or would suggest the war.
So we came up with this idea of that tree that would be a typical tree lost and stuck in no man's land, suffering from shrapnel bursts and machine gun fire, and then the original sort of barbed wire stakes wrapped around it and distorted again by the warfare. And the idea really was to have something that everybody could relate to, that everybody could see what it was very obviously, but again at the same time it wasn't in praise of one side or the other. It was really there as a sign of the horrors of war, and hopefully with a tree that, war is war, but war can come to an end and we can survive it, and let's not go back down that route again.
So we had about 3 months to make it, and that was an interesting time to catch the essence of this burnt out tree in a muddy, desolate, lunar landscape, and give it the feeling of, that suited what the war was. But it created certain challenges in making it, in that it had to be fitted in the cathedral. It had to be made of steel to get the finishes we wanted on it. So at the same time it had to have substance, but we couldn't make it too heavy either, because we had to get it in and out of there. I mean, the cathedral has these wonderful tiles all the way up it, and you dread to scratch one or do anything with it. So we had to drag half a ton of unforgiving steel all the way across it, bit by bit, without scratching anything. And luckily we didn't. So we got there. It took a long time, because it's a long. We were there at 7, I think, and by the time it was probably 2 or 3 o'clock by the time we actually had it into position, because you had to bring it in 2 parts and set it up, and there was a lot involved. It was overwhelming in the fact that so many people put names on it and wrote down family history, people's grandfathers, uncles, people who died. Within a month they had no room left on the barbed wire for people to tie their names on.
I mean, people go into that cathedral, and I found people walking past, I think, much more important sculptures and works of art that are in the cathedral, and walking straight to our piece. And that was kind of nice, and rather surprising, which was also rather nice.
So the story's growing, it's evolving, that's incredible, in the fact that you have a piece like that you've made, and the story continues for 4 years. I mean, that's really good.